All right, now we're live. Oh, awesome. I forgot to hit the live button, and I did like the whole intro and everything. Oh, man. We are live in color. It's Friday night, 9 o'clock. It's your Wrestlemania podcast. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Chris the Heat Matthews, joined, of course, each and every week by, that is not the right one, your other host, Tennessee Jesus, Carl Crossland. There's the right background. Carl, what's going on this week?
Not much, man. Unfortunately, we're missing one of our hosts, Garrett G Money Man. No matter like how many attempts WWE has made the disclaimer not to try this at home, Garrett decided to try this at home, and he jumped off a balcony, two-story balcony, uh, through a table, trying to show off for his friends, and he's injured and is in the hospital, and probably won't be on the podcast for a while.
Awesome. Well, at least you didn't jump through a pane of glass for no reason
Well, I mean,
off of a ladder.
we'll talk about that later. But uh, yeah, so thoughts and prayers are out with Garrett. Hopefully, he can recover and make it back to the podcast. But it's gonna be a long road to recovery for him.
Oh man, yeah, it's gonna definitely be a road to recovery for him on that. So, all right, bear with me here for a second. I'm still trying to get my bearings here.
I've been like that all day, man. Like I think I'm getting like I don't know, like dementia or Alzheimer's or something. It's like I can't hold a conversation. I can't think of anybody's name, so it might be a long podcast because I'll be here like, uh, who's the guy with the ugly tattoo on his neck and beach blonde hair? Something about finishing the story. What's that guy's name?
That one dude.
His dad was a wrestler.
Yeah, I wanted to get things set up here a little bit before we went live, but I got roped into playing 2K24 with my kids, so some things.
I mean, that's more,
So
yeah, that's more important than the podcast for sure.
yeah,
Especially if they're willing to play a game with you. That's
yeah. Unfortunately, I lost, but
yeah,
they cheated. Somehow they cheated.
but it's a little kid look, man. It's like I don't know. It's like if you ever play like a little kid in like Mortal Kombat or like a fighting game. It's like they don't know the combos, but they just like can
End
just
up
press
knowing.
all the buttons. Yeah.
The
It's
thing
like
to
what?
say, Xavier button mashes, and he ends up winning 90% of the time just from button mashing.
Yeah, for sure. It's like little kid logic, man. Just press the buttons and fucking win, dude. That's our problem as an adult. We put too much thought into what we're doing, where it's like you just gotta let it flow, man.
Yeah, I lost a TLC match. I did most of the work getting the ladder unhooked or the briefcase unhooked. Had like one thing left for the mini game to unhook the briefcase.
Yeah.
So I'm getting beat up by Zatanna, and Bishop's trying to get Xavier off the ladder. He's trying to figure that out. Xavier's up on the ladder, and he grabs the briefcase and gets that last thing out of sheer luck, and ends up pulling the briefcase down.
So Xavier won.
Yeah, I was like, I did all the damn
Well,
work.
good for him.
I was like, all right, no worries. Good times.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, it's awesome. I trying to get a couple things updated here before we jump over to Random Band. All right, never mind. I got on the notes on the thing. All right, so let's take it over to the random band entrance theme. Fuck's sake, it's on random. All right, random band this week. The All-American Rejects. I enjoyed the All-American Rejects. It's nice going back and listening to some of that.
I guess I wasn't a huge fan. I know like their radio stuff, but I never got into like the emo stuff that deep.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a period of time where I was listening to mostly emo.
Gotcha. You have like the Heart T-shirt. Not Heart. What was the name of that band? They had like the heartogram.
Oh, it was him.
Him. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I did not have a him T-shirt. I had I listened to a little bit of him, but wasn't like a huge fan.
Okay. My brother got into like the emo stuff. The gothic, the emo.
Yeah, I was listening to more like the emo punk stuff, like Taking Back Sunday and bands like that. Pretty much the ones that were on the Warped Tour. All right. So what did you end up going with?
So you know me, like I try to like come up with like a storyline, and I was going through like a bunch of different songs, but this one kind of popped in my head last week when we were doing it, and it's a Dirty Little Secret. And what I figured is I'll be a tag team, and my partner will be a masked man, you know, and nobody will know like who it is or whatever. And that's the thing is like I'm teaching him my dirty little secret.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I went with. Let me pull this back up here. Me versus the World.
Oh, that's I actually thought about that one.
I was like, that one's pretty good. I'll go with that because it's wrestling, so it's pretty much is you versus the world. So
yeah, I started to go with It Ends Tonight and have it be my last match, like my first and last match, in honor of Sting's last match. But I decided to go with a little bit more prolonged song and gimmick.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
All right.
I'm posting our live link. Yeah, what's next week's?
Next week is Aha. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, A-HA.
On me. Yep.
Yeah, that's the only song I know.
I think that's the song everyone knows.
I might know more. I think I get them like confused with like I don't know, Tears for Fears or you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of those like early '80s stuff, I kind of get confused with each other. So I might know more and just don't know.
That's funny.
Like, I thought that was George Michael.
That's the biggest song they had.
Yeah,
it's definitely their biggest hit. I sometimes get them mixed up with a Flock of Seagulls.
What about the Breakfast Club song? Is that them or is that somebody else?
That is I know the damn band. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. Don't you?
Kind of sounds similar. Or similar stuff.
Don't you?
Is that like Simple Mind or something?
Simple Minds, that's what it was. Simple Minds. That's what it was. I was trying to remember. It's like I know it had something like dumb or idiot in the thing. So I was trying to remember what it was. All right, awesome. So there we go. Aha for next week. which brings us over to the Elite Figure of the Week, which of course is brought to you by EntertainmentEarth.com. Go ahead over there and use the code FTCollect to save yourself an additional 10% off your in-stock orders. If you need some cool stuff, Entertainment Earth is one of the places to get it. And this week's Elite Figure of the Week is the Elite Series 8 William Regal. This is
Yeah, man. Got the long hair or longer hair.
Yeah, so this is definitely his hit the button. His last run before becoming like GM and all that other stuff. So this was a pain in the ass figure to find. It's one of the harder ones to get now for a decent price. This one,
you got it?
I got it. Yep. I tracked this one down. It took me a few weeks, but I found it. Yeah, this one and Fit Finley, the Finley figure, really are two of like some of the harder ones to find.
Yeah,
great figures though, which I think we did Finley a few weeks ago. So.
Yeah, definitely an underrated wrestler for sure.
Very much so. I really think Regal should have had a world title run towards the end of his in-ring career.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. Think he should have had it earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, he was so over towards the end of his career. Like he could have had a world title run, even if it was just like from one pay-per-view to the next pay-per-view, even if it was just like a transitional champion thing. So especially when they're doing like touring the UK quite frequently.
Yeah.
Like especially when they did SmackDown from the UK, they could have gave him the title.
Yeah.
But armchair booking. Oh, awesome stuff there. All right, so there is the Elite Figure of the Week, which of course brings us into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. The instant replay. Where is my thingy? There it is. All right, and of course, instant replay is brought to you by W Energy. Head over to w.gg to place your order and use the code WrestleGeddon to save yourself 10% off. Get your hydration and your energization, I guess. Your energizing drinks from W. Pretty good stuff. I'm a big fan of the Dragonade, which is great. And they just launched a cherry limeade, which I need to order and try that one.
Yeah. Get you some cherry limeade, mix it with a little bit of gin, and have a good time.
I'll have a great time. Be a great time indeed. All right, let's kick it off here. Hall of Fame inductions. I did not get a chance to add the U.S. Express on here, which was just announced today. So congrats to the two of them as well as Bull Nakano and Paul Heyman. Pretty psyched about that. Carl, what are your thoughts on our recent Hall of Fame inductions?
Paul Heyman, that was kind of weird because don't they usually wait till like somebody's retired before they put him in the Hall of Fame? Like he's still kind of.
Sometimes, I mean,
yeah, he's still kind of. Yeah, he's still kind of like. Don't get me wrong, he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He did a lot for wrestling, whether you like it or you don't like it.
Well, Ryback definitely didn't like it.
Oh, well, screw Ryback. I mean, I guess it's kind of fitting that it's in Philadelphia, because Philly, ECW. But yeah, man, I remember like first seeing him on he did some stuff in Nashville, but I remember seeing him on WCW as well as Paulie Dangerously, and he carried that big ass block cell phone,
oh yeah.
And then ECW, man, like it kind of changed the way people saw wrestling. Definitely shaped the Attitude Era.
Absolutely, because without without ECW, you wouldn't have had like the hardcore title and like all that other stuff that they
Yeah,
ripped off, and then half the talent too. Because you
yeah,
get, you know, like the guys like franchise showing up in WWE, or the guys moving from ECW to WCW, and the Luchadors. ECW was the
yeah,
first one. That's where we first saw Jericho and Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, like all these guys, these smaller wrestlers that would find a
yeah,
more prominent home on WCW, but they all started off in ECW.
yeah,
And even
yeah.
Austin, like we wouldn't have Stone Cold if it wasn't for his brief stint in ECW.
Bull Nakano, are they still alive?
Yes, Bull Nakano is still alive. She actually just retired
Oh,
last year, the year before.
okay. I remember she's like another one. Like you only really saw her on like, well, I don't know, I could just be making this up, but I only really saw her on like pay-per-views. This was back when like women's wrestling wasn't like real big.
Yeah,
Um,
and she had a pretty good
on the
series with Alundra Blaze.
Yeah, Lunder Blaze. She also did some work in WCW as well. I'm trying to remember who she wrestled. It might have been Medusa. I don't know.
Makes sense.
Uh,
God.
yeah. But yeah, she's just like one of those people. She kind of like I always see her at like a pay per view, and the matches are pretty good. Uh, I thought like every match she was in. So I think she's definitely deserving. I think she's like a bigger deal in Japan,
Oh,
definitely.
definitely.
Um,
She's definitely someone. If like I'm kind of guilty of this too. Like I need to go watch some of her work in Japan, because I know Bull Nakano from WWF from watching her in Alundra Blaze. Um, and that was my only exposure to her. But I do vaguely remember her showing up in WCW. The few times that I was able to catch, WCW before, the Monday Night Wars and stuff. Because like I didn't have that channel, because that's when like cable didn't have all these channels.
yeah,
So those channels were like regional to some areas, even like smaller cities, like where I grew up. Like we didn't have that channel as part of our cable package, but my grandma did,
yeah,
and she had a different cable
yeah,
provider. So that was like one of those things. So if I was there on a Saturday night, then I would watch WCW Saturday night, and that's probably the other times I've seen Bull Nakano wrestle.
yeah. Um, as far as the American Express, definitely both deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. I was just kind of shocked by them getting inducted into the Hall of Fame as like the. Well, I mean, given like I'm young, so I was born in '86, so I think that's probably like around the time that they started, and they kind of broke up before I started like remembering what was going on in wrestling. Um, I don't get me wrong, I've like seen their work, watching like Wrestlemania. Uh,
Yeah,
I
because
think
they're
there
on
was like
the
there's a
first WrestleMania, right?
yeah, there's on the first WrestleMania. There's also at the uh, is it AWA? Who did the Wrestle Rock?
They're in. I got actually pulled up their Wikipedia here, so I'm kind of cheating a
Okay.
little bit, because I'm not familiar with the U.S. Express as a tag team. Like I'm familiar with Barry Windham. I'm familiar with Mike Rotunda. As their other characters like IRS, and like when Wyndham was Blackjack Wyndham when he was tagging with Bradshaw. Like I'm
Yeah,
familiar with that. Like I'm not, and then like his work in WCW with the Texas Rednecks. Um,
yeah.
but they went
He was
from their championship
he was in the
wrestling from
Four Horsemen
Florida.
too.
Yeah, that was before I was watching
Yeah,
WCW and NWA.
yeah,
Universal Wrestling Federation in '87. That was where they kind of stopped, and then they did like reunions in 2001, 4, 5, and 8.
yeah. I want to say I thought I saw them on like a Wrestle Rock or something.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, I watch like old VHS and DVDs and stuff at the movie theater. I mean, movie store. But yeah, like this, you know, I thought they would probably like first be introduced as like, especially like WWE Hall of Fame, like IRS, like as IRS and Money Incorporated and Million Dollar Stable or whatever it was called. Like to me, it was like more impactful, like of like what I remember him for. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, American Express could have been really, or U.S. Express. Is it American Express or U.S. Express?
U.S. Express. American Express is Mike Rotunda and Dan Spivey.
Yeah, like one of them left. Um, yeah, Barry Windham, like same thing. Like I do remember he did like a brief stint as like the Stalker. You remember that where he came out in like the fucking camouflage?
Oh yeah.
Was it the Stalker? Was it the Stalker
um. Yeah,
or
I
the
think it was a stalker.
yeah something like that? But uh, yeah, and then I remember Rotunda being he was like in a tag team called like the Varsities, I think, or the
Varsity
Lettermans,
Club.
or
The Varsity Club.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And then he came as like IRS, and then went to WCW as VK of Wall Street. But yeah, but I mean they both deserve the Hall of Fame. Like I consider both of them good wrestlers, and it's just weird that they went in as that. As you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I mean maybe it's just because it's like a first WrestleMania thing. I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
And back to what you were saying about WWE and their inductions, like, they did the same thing with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. They didn't induct them as Hall and Nash. They inducted them as Razor Ramon and Diesel.
Yeah.
And they weren't inducted as Hall and Nash until they inducted the NWO. So I mean, it's kind of surprising that they didn't induct them in as IRS and like Blackjack Wyndham, but seeing how like the U.S. Express actually started in WW.
They were
WWE
WWE.
wrestling from Florida, then they went to WWF. So, I mean,
Yeah.
considering they had some success there and being a part of that first WrestleMania, then it does make sense for them to go in as U.S. Express.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were like tag team champions, but I mean, so was Ted DiBiase and IRS.
Yeah, they're two-time WWF tag team champions. So. Awesome. All right, so that's pretty much like the biggest news I've got for the week here. I'm sure there's some other stuff floating around, but want to talk more about the actual wrestling aspect of the week. So let's hop over to some WWE stuff here. Did you get a chance to check out anything from Raw?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
What do you think of Gunther and Dom?
I was wanting that match at WrestleMania, to be honest. And then I was hoping for Dom to give him a little bit more trouble, kind of like with the Chad Gable type style match.
Yeah.
But I mean, the crowd was really into it. The only thing that I have a problem. Well, I don't know if it's really like a problem. It's just kind of weird. Is like they're both heels, so it's like Gunther's supposed to be this like big dominating heel, but then like the person he's versing is getting booed harder than he is.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I honestly would not be surprised if Gunther gets transitioned to a face.
Yeah,
or something like that. Because just the way, like the reaction that he gets from the crowd is pretty good. Like regardless of who he's wrestling, he gets a pretty good ovation.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like with him and Gable, like he was getting that like from last Christmas when him and Gable had that like little series of matches. Like he had to like start making comments about Gable's family to get boos from the crowd instead of the cheers that he was getting previously. So, but I know I get what you're saying with Gable and Gunther compared to Gunther and Gunther and Dom. But to me, it seems more believable that Gable would put up more of a fight than Dom would.
I don't know.
As far as like
I
the
think to me,
size comparison between the two of them.
yeah, but I think like to me, like Dom has put like a lot of work in like the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Um, and I'd like to see him like gain something from the match, and it didn't seem like he gained anything from it.
Yeah.
And he's given a lot. You know what I mean?
I don't think he looked bad in the match. Like
No, he didn't look bad, but he didn't gain anything. Like
yeah.
if he had a match at WrestleMania, or even if this match, like if he like had like a better fight, you know, like I feel like he could have had like something to gain. Like he could have earned some respect, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Oh. I think he's in that gauntlet match this coming Monday anyway. So.
No, I don't think he is.
He's not?
No. No.
No, I think you're right.
Looking at that too, I don't know if you have the names available, but I was looking at that and I don't see anybody that I could see winning that belt or really making a whole lot of sense. I mean, to me, like Sensei Nakamura would had the better match with Gunther, but they're both kind of heel, so it don't make sense, you know, to have that be like a WrestleMania match. And then trying to think of, I think maybe Sami Zayn is what they're thinking.
It's Ricochet, Gable, Zayn, Bronson Reed, Shinsuke, and JD McDonough.
Yeah. I gave up on Bronson Reed. Like I don't know. I really don't care to see him.
Especially not in a match against Gunther.
Yeah.
If this ended up being like a triple threat match for the IC title, then yeah, give me like freaking Bronson Reed and Chad Gable or Sami Zayn. Like,
yeah, no,
I think that would be a solid match, but
yeah, I don't want to see Bronson Reed. I could see Chad Gable. I can see because they had some really good matches.
Yeah.
I think they're going Sami Zayn though. Like I said, Nakamura would make like the better match. Like as far as like if you're like, you know, AEW style where like the matches don't make sense but they're really good. That's the match I really would want. That's the match I really want to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense because
but
Nakamura with the Japanese strong style and the way that Gunther wrestles would gel very well together.
Yeah,
because like if you think about like the triple threat we had last year with Gunther, McIntyre, and Sheamus,
yeah,
and how awesome that match was with the three of them just beating the shit out of each other. I mean, we'd end up getting that same type of match, or similar with Nakamura and Gunther. Where it'd be like a little bit more technical stuff in there, but I mean, it'd still be like a hard hitting, like brawl. So.
Oh, but you could be right. Maybe Gunther goes heel. I mean, goes face, and then it would make sense for that. But I don't know. We'll see. But I'm thinking they're going Sami Zayn.
Yeah, the way they've been kind of doing like the little backstage stuff with Sammy and Gunther were like, Sammy, they're like staring each other down and stuff like that as they pass each other by. I wouldn't be surprised for that one. There's just really not much else for Sammy to do for WrestleMania unless they put him in like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal Friday night. But I mean,
he don't really have to
huge slide off from the year before from last year's Mania.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a huge fan or anything, so I wouldn't be disappointed if he wasn't involved.
Yeah,
nothing slide against him or nothing. It's just
have they decided if Priest and Finn are they defending the tag titles? Have they made that official yet with anybody?
They wrestled on Raw.
I mean, like for Mania.
I don't think so. Or they haven't like flat out announced it or anything.
All right, so the only matches we've got are Rollins and Drew, Roman and Cody, Io and Bailey, Rhea and Becky, and Gunther versus the Gauntlet winner until SmackDown tonight, which we're pretty much gonna confirm. I think it's all been but confirmed. Rock and Roman versus Seth and Cody on night one.
You think they're gonna make it? You think they make it a 6-man tag?
A 6-man tag?
Did you watch Raw or no?
I did.
Okay, so like you saw, like Seth came out and to save
to save was it
Jay?
Jay, yeah,
from Jimmy, and then then McIntyre, then McIntyre came out and hit him with a claymore.
It was more like with Drew. I don't think they'll make it a 6-man, but I think it was Drew is like, he feels like Seth is overlooking him because of the bloodline stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it just kind of pissed Drew off to the point where it's like, you ran right by me. I'm a serious threat to your title at WrestleMania, and you're not treating me like it. So here's a claymore for your bitch ass. So I think that's what that was. So.
Yeah. Well, when I was saying the 6-man, I wasn't thinking of Drew being on the
title match.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't thinking about him being in the 6-man. Like I was thinking it being Jimmy. Like I was thinking Seth, Cody,
add Jay,
and then Jimmy, Rock. But that definitely would make sense though. If they're gonna do definitely Jimmy J, it wouldn't make sense to put them. Never mind. That was a dumb idea. That was a dumb thought.
I mean, they could do end up making it a 6-man if they wanted to pivot that way. Like you could add Solo into that match, and then put Sami Zayn if he ends up not winning, if they don't go with him for the IC title match, and do him and
that's true.
Cody and Seth versus the Bloodline, because he's had just the same amount of issues with the Bloodline as Osu have.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think they're just gonna stick it as like a standard tag match. I'm sure Solo will get involved somehow, something. So, oh man, that should be pretty good though.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably like one of the biggest things from Raw. Of course, Jimmy cost and Jay another match. So that's pretty much all but confirmed for Mania as well.
Yeah. Cody said that they were going to announce tonight what was going on. Trying to remember if there's anything else like noteworthy.
Shit, that's not the right one. I don't think from Raw. I don't think so. I think that was like a lot of the biggest stuff from Raw. Besides, Liv Morgan.
Oh well, yeah, Liv Morgan and Becky. Yeah, I forgot about that.
What do you think about a Liv heel turn? You think that could be something in the future?
I mean, I like her a lot better than Nia Jax. Anything to get rid of Nia Jax. Turn her heel and have her be your heel. I like it. I'm a fan of Liv Morgan. I think she could probably pull off the heel pretty good. And it kind of, if you do that, it kind of expands like what you can do in the women's division on Raw. Yeah. Because you don't really have too many big heels. And I think Rhea Ripley is more of like a face than she is a heel.
Yeah, I think they're gonna transition Rhea.
I think they're gonna transition Judgment Day into a face team. Like the only thing that's really holding them up is Dominic,
Yeah, I think if they could do something to get Dominic over as a face. Like there could be something where maybe he makes a save for like the LWO or something. Who knows?
Yeah, but to be fair, like I think it's more like inside baseball where like people just like booing him for the sake of booing him.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
I
they
don't
booed
know
him
if you
at his
saw.
own wedding.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, saw him getting booed in.
That was funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's some good stuff. Sorry, I'm tallying up the Revolution scores here because I forgot to do that this week too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, you want to talk Revolution
yeah. I mean, let's
or do you want to talk or you want to talk NXT or I don't know if you saw that
I
or
didn't watch NXT this week.
they did the thing where they make it like a pay per view, but not really.
Oh
So it
yeah,
was like Roadblock. Um,
yeah. I
it
remember
was
the.
good. Yeah, it was good. It wasn't as good as like I was told. Like everybody was telling me like how great it was. I could have just been really tired. You know how it is. Like sometimes you watch stuff in like a bad mood or a down mood.
Yeah.
The Dijak versus Gacy, like everybody was like big on it. Uh, just my thoughts on it. I know like everybody listening probably gonna hate me for it, but the cage match and WWE like, well, it wasn't just a cage match. It was like I forgot what they called it, but it's like one of those cage matches where they had like weapons in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, it had like some really good spots. What I hated though is like they had like a box that was like don't open, and it
Oh,
had
I
like a
saw that
fucking
the boxing
yeah, it
glove came
had
out
the
him in the nuts.
yeah, which was fucking stupid. Dijak did do like a fucking moonsault, somersault off the top of the cage, which was pretty cool. Um, and then another thing
That's
he did, like
the thing with Dijak is a lot of people don't remember how good he is.
yeah, I like both of these guys. This my biggest thing is like there's no blood. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just like if you ain't gonna bleed, don't have a cage. Uh, but he did like duct tape Gacy's eyes, fucking shit. Like beat the hell out of him, which is pretty cool. Uh, like it wasn't like if it had blood, it would put it over the top, but it was just uh, these rated G hardcore matches. I just can't get into it. But the biggest thing that happened was uh you had Carmelo Hayes versus Tony D'Angelo for like number one contendership,
Yeah. I saw that
and
Trick came back.
yeah, well before Trick came back, that's how D'Angelo beat Carmelo. They played like the Trick Williams thing, and then he, like got distracted.
Yeah.
Uh, but then like Trick music hit and he come out, so they set up Trick and Carmelo, and that kind of just highlights like how good WWE is kind of is like with like storytelling. Whereas like you can have a guy lose a number one contendership match, but make the match that he's gonna have with the next guy seem way more better. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because like
but
they've been building Carmelo and Trick. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
obviously, like the story's not done between them yet.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, that was like uh, the biggest thing to come out of that. The I forget what does Corbin and what are they called?
Wait, aren't they the Wolf Dogs or something?
Wolf Dogs. Yeah, that's it. The Wolf Dogs. It surprised me they retained. Like I thought, like they would drop it since Breakers on going up to main roster, but no, they
Yeah.
retained.
I really think they
Uh,
need to like have Breaker come out with that tag title.
yeah, yeah, it don't make sense.
It makes
Like,
sense. Like, cause
like he's
they're
the
gonna
champion
say
of
like,
AEW in this.
yeah, they're gonna say like, Braun Breaker, one half of the tag team champions, NXT tag team
Yeah,
champions. Okay, great. They're
yeah,
gonna acknowledge him as that, but at least let him wear the title out. Like, come on. Oh,
yeah.
Just does not make sense to me. No. But then again, WWE does keep their titles separate, unlike AEW and Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Oh man, awesome stuff there. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into AEW. Like that new logo. Woo.
Yeah.
New AEW logo. Let's talk Revolution this past week. I did watch it. I thought it was a really good pay-per-view.
Yeah.
There were a couple things on there that kind of I didn't like.
Let's go match by match. You want to go match by match?
Yeah, we'll kick it off here. We didn't watch the pre-show stuff. Main pay-per-view.
I didn't. I heard though. I did hear that I didn't get to see it because I didn't watch the pre-show. They said that Pac had a vignette in the pre-show.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, he's been gone for a long time. So,
yeah.
I can't wait for him to come back. So, like, he was just getting on a roll, and then he gets injured, and he's out again. So he's stuck because he was gone like the entire pandemic because he was locked down in the UK.
Yeah.
And then finally, when he's able to travel, he comes back, and then he's injured, and he's been out for I don't know. It seems like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
But that should be good.
Christian,
I'm excited for him to come back. So. But
Christian Cage and
Daniel
Garcia. Really good match.
I enjoyed it. It was just such a great match. Yeah. And Christian, still the best heel AEW's got. I don't care what anybody says. The best
and
pure heel.
And he knows how to tell a story in the ring. I mean, like, it's just
absolutely.
Yeah. The whole faking the injury was really good. I will say, but then finding off he did injure. I guess they did the little, I think it was a toe sweep or something. Then he did kind of favor it. Damn it, jinx myself. But yeah, and then you had involvement. It was pretty good. I enjoyed that match for sure. It's probably one of my favorite ones.
It was such a good match. I enjoyed it. I really can't say anything negative about the match. It was just what you'd expect from a Christian Cage match. And Daniel Garcia pretty much showed in this match too, how good he is. He's not just, coming out there doing his dance. He can go in the ring. I think people tend to forget that.
Yeah, sure.
I believe we both picked Christian Cage for this one. Yes, both of us did. Garrett picked Daniel Garcia. So. I'm just going to do the totals here, so I don't go through everything. But Carl, you picked 6 of them right out of what we did picks for. I got 5. Garrett got 2.
So I won twice in a row, man.
Twice in a row, man. This next match, Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. I was not. I don't know. I just.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. There's some stuff that like I hate those. I said it last week. I'm gonna say it again. I hate those chops that Kingston does. They just look so bad.
Yeah, they do. They do, and the only other thing that really bothers me about him is hit me some more shit. It's you can do that. You can do that once a match. Okay, but I think he did it maybe 2 or 3 times in that match where he's I'm gonna take off my shirt so you can hit me, or my legs hurt. He did it again. It's come on, dude.
If you're looking for a brawl, that's what this was, pretty much. Bro.
It was. I mean, it wasn't necessarily they still had some technical stuff in it because you had Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Daniel, or whatever he is. It wasn't bad. It was a little long. which at the time I wasn't too bothered by it, but then as the night progressed on and it was like starting to get long, I'm like, man, that Eddie Kingston, Daniel Bryan match could have been 5-10 minutes. Still got the the gist of it being so damn long. Uh, but yeah, I guess it wasn't bad, but we definitely could have been shorter or could have did without it.
Yeah, yeah, I think it did go on a little longer than what it should have.
Yeah,
that's like one of my big things with this too, with AEW.
Yeah.
Like, pay per view is so fucking long.
Yeah,
Like,
but like I said, I can't
like 10
I can't
o'clock.
say the match was bad though.
It was like 10:30. You're like, I'm going to bed. Like, I gotta work in the morning.
Yeah, I actually stayed up. I stayed up because it was Sting's last match. But if it wasn't Sting's last match, I definitely probably would have went to bed.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
What we talked about. These are still like the order that we did picks from last week.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah. Well, the next one is that All-Star Scramble, which ended up being kind of turned itself around towards the end.
Yeah. Started slow.
I said I went to use the bathroom before this match started, so I missed all the meat chants in the beginning.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that was like pretty like embarrassing as a wrestling fan. Back when we were in school and they used like a 3-letter word to describe wrestling. That's like a derogatory term to like a group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. This match was definitely that at that point. It's like you had a bunch of big guys, and first off, they just started flexing, and it's like, all right, okay, like who do y'all think y'all are? Y'all Rick Rude or Hulk Hogan or somebody? And then they do these like 2 at a time, like they started doing these like fucking running like shoulder blocks, I guess is what you would call it, or chop block or something. And there was no selling it. And then like the whole time the crowd, I didn't like this crowd. Like the crowd kind of took me out of the pay-per-view a little bit, like in certain spots. And this is like one of those like they started canning meat, and it was like, no way in hell I'm on with a straight face. I yell crazy shit at wrestling events. Like Chris can witness to that.
Yeah.
Is a witness to that. But I don't think I would ever sit there and just like me. Just them dudes fucking, fighting half naked. But yeah, that happened, and then like then the small guys get in there and try to do the same thing, and it's just like
some of my qualms from this match and just in general is there's no fucking way that Hook should be throwing around guys like Hobbs and Wardlow and Cage and Archer. Like, no way in hell.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. It's not a good look. Like, what does it make these bigger guys look like? Oh, this little, 5'0" dude comes in the ring and starts, suplexing all these big ass dudes. Like, you're making these guys look like bitches.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're trying to go like the Taz route, but at least Taz looked like a badass.
Yeah.
Well, he's not. No, he wasn't very much bigger. He had like a pot belly, but he looked like a badass though. You know what I mean? Like he looked like he could suplex a guy. But yeah, I think they're just trying to live in the past of like Taz and Beverly and Bigelow and stuff. But yeah.
But that was more believable that Taz could, T-bone suplex Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah. And then there was like another spot with like the suplexes,
Oh, that pissed me
and
off too. Like they're all standing
and
up there
then
waiting to set up the superplexes.
what's his face? Was it who was it? Was it Hook or somebody missed a fucking dive too? It was pretty bad. They got caught up, but they hit the ropes trying to dive out.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember who it was
Who
though.
else was in this match? It was fuck. Dante Martin.
Dante Martin, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's the luchador? What was the luchador's name?
Magnus.
Magnus. Rey Mysterio wannabe ass hitting a 619. Like, come on, man.
Yep. Which is excuse me. Which is the reason why we had no Pentagon or any other Mexican talent on the pay-per-view because of AEW's crap deal with CMLL. So thank you for that. I would much rather have seen like Pentagon or someone like that in the matchup. So,
yeah. But Warlow picked up the victory.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Like, I think all of us. No, I picked Hobbs. I think you and Garrett picked Wardlow on that one. Well, it was between him and Hobbs, but like I'm not surprised. And he cashed in his title match for next week against Joe. So we'll see that on. I think next week is the big business event. So
yeah,
so we'll see that one. Let's see. Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. I know you're not the biggest Orange Cassidy fan, so
I actually liked it. This match wasn't too bad. Just for the fact that Orange Cassidy didn't do his like same old dumb shit that he normally does.
Yeah. I'm glad Roddy picked up the win on this one. So
yeah, Orange Cassidy, the only thing he changed though really was, like I said, putting his hands in his pocket. He grabbed his back or his ribs or whatever was supposed to be hurt. Yeah. But it was a good match. I like the way Roderick Strong looked in the match. I think he came across like as a badass.
Yep.
Because he kind of kept control of the whole match.
That's really the Roderick Strong I remember from Ring of Honor. Like when he was like when they was calling him like the Messiah of the backbreaker. That's the Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
That's
Kyle O'Reilly, man.
Looking like Tom.
I don't know if he caught AIDS or something. Like he looked bad, like he's like been sick or something. Like has he been out sick? Like
he's been injured.
Sick as hell or fucking
I don't know. All I know is he's been injured this entire time. I guess it was he was pretty bad because he wasn't sure if he was gonna be able to wrestle again.
Okay. I mean, he must have did something. I mean, dude was pale. His eyes were like kind of puffy. Looked like they've been swollen. Like maybe been crying a lot.
At first, I thought it was Tom Green in the ring. I'm like, what the hell is Tom Green doing here?
Yeah.
And then they caught it again. It's like, oh, it's Kyle O'Reilly. So I'm glad he's back.
Yeah. I am too. I guess they're gonna sit up him and Roddy at some point. Because it looked like he was gonna do like a save, but then he hugged him, but then didn't take the shirt. So I don't know, or he could join and then turn. I don't know, but
yeah, all he did is just basically told him like, yeah, we'll talk about it later, type of thing. So
yeah, he whispered in his ear, so it could be like maybe Kyle O'Reilly's gonna split up the group, maybe, and then you get like O'Reilly's group versus fucking Professor X. I told you I got all time Adam Cole. It's like, dude, I can't remember the simplest of names. Like, who am I doing the podcast with? And then he said your name was Charles.
The funny thing about this, It was mentioned on another podcast I was listening to. So you know how, like, everyone was bitching because the plans when they to call up Adam Cole to the main roster in WWE was for him to be a manager.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what he's doing now, and nobody's bitching
Yeah.
about it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like, he's in a wheelchair, so
Yeah.
like when he's medically clear to wrestle, hopefully they get him back in the ring, but we'll see.
He spent more time in AEW injured than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, I thought overall match wasn't bad. It was pretty good. I'm just, like I said, I'm glad Roddy picked up the win, so we can do some more stuff with this title and Orange Cassidy move on to something else like the tag team tournament, which we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. What else we got? Blackpool Combat Club and FTR. Surprisingly, Moxley did not bleed in this match.
Yeah.
Not a single drop. It was all Dax.
No.
I was a little disappointed.
It was a good match, like as far as like the technicalities of a match go. My biggest complaint, well, I have a couple complaints. So let me air them out. Fucking Moxley and Cesaro or Claudio Casanova, whatever he wants to call himself now. The fucking Road Warriors? Really?
Yeah.
Y'all motherfuckers couldn't lace their boots. Like, fuck y'all.
If this was excuse me. If this was in Chicago and they were the face team, by all means, yes. Do a little LOD tribute, Road Warriors tribute. But you're in Greensboro.
Like, I mean, the Road Warriors wrestled in Greensboro, but
I know. Your heels, like no but Warriors dress like the Road
Warriors. But then in I mean, even in the match, they went for like LOD Doomsday device or whatever they call it. But
they did a little different. They've done it before. Like Claudio will do the European uppercut instead of the clothesline.
Yeah, but still, it's like, fuck y'all. And then to the crowd, it's like, really?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to do a split chant between FTR and fucking Black Bullet Combat Club or what was that? Like, no, man, dude. Like, FTR as a Carolinian for the last 10 years.
Greensboro, North Carolina. That crowd should have been pro FTR.
Yeah, they should have been fucked. They should have been fucked John Moxley. But to be fair, maybe everybody wasn't from North Carolina. Maybe they were just there.
A lot of people had come in from other areas. First things last.
But still, man, like fucking put some respect on. Like FTR is like one of the greatest tag teams of all time in their home state. It's like, man, fuck y'all. And then two, I'm on 3 now, ain't I? I didn't like the finish. If you want to take one of them out, okay, that's okay. You know what I mean? Like they went through a lot. They had a long match, but to me, you can't finish the match with both of them getting choked out in the ring.
Yeah, I don't know. Like overall, I thought it was good. It was a good tag match. A lot of back and forth between the two of them. A lot of pretty much a lot of brawling is what you got from this team. There's a little bit of technical stuff in there. Moxley's not really a technical wrestler to begin with, so I wasn't really expecting anything technical from him. The majority of it came from Casanoli and FTR. I mean, you can have a straight up brawl, but you still need to add like a little bit of technical stuff here and there, just overall. But if the match deems for it, I mean, if this was a This was a no DQ match anyway, right? Or no holds barred or something.
It was I thought it was a tornado tag, but I can't remember.
That might have been tornado. Yeah, it doesn't say on here. It just says tag team match.
No, it might have been a regular tag. It might have been a regular tag team. I can't remember. Maybe
No, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was like a no holds barred type matchup because there was no tagging in and out of this. They were all going at each other the entire time. So I had to be.
No, I think
it was a tornado tag.
Was it tornado? Okay.
Yeah, it was a tornado.
Another complaint I have is and this will be my last bitch because I know I did enjoy the match. Like I am doing a lot of bitching for enjoying the match. Claudio Castagnoli, can we retire the fucking the spinny thing?
The swing, the giant swing.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool in WWE because that's like a demographic that's more like for kids. That's WWE's demographic. They're catering towards kids. So like doing that move is kind of cool there. Not really cool for adults, but cool for kids. But AEW, that shit doesn't belong. If I was Tony Khan, I'm like, hey man, that moves banned.
I was a fan of that giant swing dropkick combo when him and Tyson Kidd were doing it. Like it was cool when they were doing it. Now it's like, like it's not as cool when him and Moxley do it because Moxley looks like shit when he does a dropkick. Like it's just out of characteristic for him. Now, I mean, when him and Bryan Danielson did it a few weeks ago, it looked better because Bryan Danielson can throw a dropkick and not make it look like shit. So, man, so many gripes with that match, but it's still good. Timeless Tony Storm, Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah.
Whew, I thought this was a good one. That's probably one of the better women's matches we've seen in a while from AEW. I liked Mariah May coming out in like the old Tony Storm gimmick. I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't, but the only reason why I don't, I like it. I did. Don't get me wrong. I did like it, but if I knew what was going to happen after that, then I don't like it. If that makes sense, like knowing, like watching the whole thing in a whole, I don't like it. But at the time, I did like it, but I didn't know I wasn't going to like it because you're doing the same thing with like Sting. So
yeah,
it's like one of those things you can't do two of those in one show. If that makes sense.
With this too, with like the whole Mariah May Tony Storm pairing, do you get Mickie James Trish Stratus vibes from this?
I think they're trying to do something with it. Like I think they'll eventually turn on each other again.
Well, that's the like to go to the end of the match. Obviously, Tony Storm retained. You see, she was getting out of the ring, and Mariah was helping her out of the ring, and Tony handed her the title and said, "Hold this." And Mariah like paused for a second, and was like staring at the title before walking away with Tony.
Yeah.
So eventually, like you said, I agree with you on that one. They're definitely going to do something with this, and it's going to be Mariah turning on Tony or something.
Yeah. And I'm just happy they're doing a storyline,
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, hey, yes, this is what we did. This is what we need to do. We need more of it.
But the match overall, this is why Deonna Purrazzo was here. To help elevate this women's division, which desperately needs it. And Deonna is a great addition to this. As long as they keep the momentum going. That's the other thing. And which they kind of dropped the ball with that Wednesday night, which we'll get into that here in a couple minutes. But matches like this is what your women's division should be consistently. But great matchup. I knew going into this that it was going to be a solid matchup between the two of them because Tony Storm's a great wrestler. Deonna is a great wrestler. I mean, they've proven it time and time again what they can do in the ring, and just the two of them together. The story that they told in the ring was it was great. I think it was probably one of my favorite matches on the pay-per-view. At least one of my
Yeah.
like top 3.
I might push it to 4, but yeah, we'll. I don't know. It's one of those things. It was a really good match, though.
It was a solid match. Ospreay and Takeshita.
This one, to me, is probably match of the night. Well, no, Sting. It was Sting's last match, but yeah, this was. It was really really good. If I had one complaint, and I said this a lot about Will Ospreay,
The no selling.
and yeah, the no selling, and he's one of my favorite wrestlers. Like he's up there like as like one of my favorites right now. But yeah, like I would like to see him like the no selling, especially like towards the end, like some of those moves and like you are getting up. It's just come on, man. But yeah, it was really good. Really, like if you're a fan of like the technical wrestling and like good moves, this is probably. I'm pretty sure like Dave Meltzer will probably make it a 5-star.
He did actually 5 3/4.
Oh, 5 3/4. Yeah,
Which I think I think it's how many times he jizzed in his pants watching this matchup. 5 3/4.
And don't get me wrong, this is like one of those things where like I think we say it time and time again is like they have really good matches. Like
they do. They just
they can book really good matches.
Story part of it. So
yeah,
like you get some stories here and some stories there. Like yes, I mean wrestling. What happens between the ropes a lot of times is what brings a lot of people in. But then there's a lot of people that enjoy that part of it too, but also enjoy the storytelling aspect of it or the storyline aspect of it. Like,
and
why
that's
do
why
I care that these guys are wrestling? Like, why did I care that these guys have beef? So,
and that's what makes the Christian Cage thing so good. You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes that so good is because he's been able to have like storylines, not with just one opponent, with multiple opponents. It's like, come on now.
Yep. And
if you can do it, you can do it.
We still got him and Copeland. Like, they're still working on that story. I mean, Copeland came back on Dynamite, and then we're getting a I Quit match for the TNT title next week. So
so
we'll see where that goes. But I mean, that's all it is. Just give us some kind of story like to go along with this. So hopefully they can do something with them because even like the match that they had Wednesday night with Ospreay and I can't remember Kyle Fletcher was a pretty good matchup like between the two.
It was.
Now I'm confused. Is Ospreay part of the Callis family? Because that's what
I don't know.
Sound like is he was part of the Don Callis family. Because they kept saying they're putting Don keeps pitting the members of the Callis family against each other to see like battle of supremacy or something like that. So
yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I think they're setting up him and Daniel Bryan for
the second matchup.
Their next pay-per-view. I forgot what it was. I was like what Dynasty. I was like, I know it was like a one-word thing.
Yep. But even then, it should be a good matchup because their first matchup was great. So this one should be pretty.
Oh
good
yeah.
Well, Ospreay is a great addition to the roster. Hopefully they use them and everything else. I think isn't he taking on Jay White next week? I think he is. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Who's versing Jay? Jay White was on Dynamite. I'm trying to remember who he. It was Darby Allin, wasn't it?
It might have been. I think it was. It was Darby Allin.
Because Darby Allin was announcing that he was going to go climb Mount Everest or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It is Darby Allin.
And then said he wasn't going to be in the tag tournament.
Yeah, because he's not going to be able. He said he won't find anyone better than Sting as a tag team partner, which honestly is true. Like,
yeah,
I think it's time to move Darby into that world title picture.
or at least in singles, like get him back in the singles game.
Honestly, he's probably the most over person on the roster that's been consistently over besides MJF. Like, if you think about it. So
consistent, like, for a long time.
Yeah.
Swerve is kind of new to the company.
Yep.
And some of the other guys are a little new to the company. But yeah, Darby out, and he's one of those guys that was like day one guy that you'd like to see some stuff go right for him.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of Swerve, triple threat match for the AEW World Championship. Great match.
It was. I felt like they dropped the ball.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I think,
like, if Swerve wasn't winning this, I'm glad Joe won, because I do not want to see Hangman carry the title again. Sorry, like, that title reign he had before just didn't do anything. So
I think they're picking up the ball again though, because I think, like, at one point it made it seem like they were setting up Adam Page and Swerve again, which I don't want to see. Yeah.
But when we had Swerve came out and did that promo Wednesday night,
I didn't like it.
You did?
I didn't like it.
And it made it seem like they were trying to make him a face.
They are. They also had elements of that in that thing too, in the triple threat match, because Prince, what's his name? Prince Ani or whatever his name is.
Oh, Prince Nana.
Nana, yeah, Prince Nana was gonna throw him something, and he didn't want it. Like, he didn't take it. So yeah, I think they're going to face with him, and what my problem with the promo is, I know, like, I'm skipping ahead, but it's like he can be over. I have no problem with him being over. He's over with the crowd. He didn't have to acknowledge it. Like, he didn't have to, be like, oh, this is like my bad karma coming back to me, and then be like, oh, the fans are chanting my name now, and it's giving me something to believe in. It's like, no, you're over because you're that badass character.
Absolutely.
Like,
not
continue to be the badass character. Like, don't get me wrong, you can sprinkle in. You can sprinkle in some face stuff.
He's got something along the lines of Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Like, where he doesn't give a shit what's going on. Like, he's going to go out there and do whatever it is that he needs to do to win that match.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's basically awesome. I'm going to do what I want to do to win, and I'm going to do it how I want to do it. And that's the pull to Swerve. Yeah.
And they kind of screwed it up with, like, MJF in that aspect too, where he was over. Like, everybody will admit that he was over, but then he started doing face thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
I'm your scumbag thing. So.
Yeah, and it's like, no, man, this be the badass. You're a badass. You're a cheater. Be that. Lie, cheat, and steal. Eddie Guerrero, he was face, but he was bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
You can do both. Don't change what is working.
And, like, the biggest thing with that too from Wednesday, kind of getting into this a little bit. You got them. Then you got Adam Cole and Undisputed Kingdom coming out and challenging fucking Swerve and Joe to a tag team match. Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody wants to watch that. Like, I don't want to watch that. I want to watch Swerve versus Joe for the title. That's what I want to see, not fucking tag team.
Well, I don't have a problem with the tag team match.
Mhm.
At least it's some kind of storytelling. Um, I'll get my thought. I'll get my thoughts on that later on in the podcast
Okay.
because it'll play into something else that we're going to talk about.
All right. So back to the triple threat. Like I said, Joe ended up retaining, which if I wasn't getting Swerve, I'll take Joe.
Yeah,
Like I said, I don't want Hangman anywhere. I don't want him holding that title again. Not
no,
for a while. They should have put the title on him first instead of Jericho. Like in all honesty,
yeah,
like I understand why they did Jericho, but Hangman should have been first with the momentum and stuff that he had coming off of his run in Ring of Honor, going to AEW with like the fans like completely 100% behind him,
he
like
was
that.
like a cowboy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he should have been the first, but
yeah,
it was too late to put the title on him when they did.
yeah.
But other than that, like I don't really have anything negative to say about the match. It was everything that I was expecting it to be. But
Yeah, I like I said, I think they dropped the ball as far as like I think Swerve should have got it. I think they're kind of pivoting now though.
yeah,
Uh, and I'll give my thoughts a little bit later when we talk about
I
something else.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does get that title here in the next couple weeks. So.
Yeah.
All right, main event: Darby Allin and Sting versus the Young Bucks. Still was not thrilled with the Bucks being the final match, but I guess it was Sting's choice. He wanted to go out against the Bucks, and apparently everyone had to talk him into going over the Bucks because he was wanting to go out the traditional way.
Yeah, I'm glad he won. He like I don't want the last match to be losing to the Bucks, so
Yeah,
I'm glad he won. I can live with that.
absolutely. Um,
I mean, he's not my
I
favorite wrestler by no means, but I still have respect for the guy. You know.
I thought this match was better. It was better than what I was anticipating.
Hmm.
Because I'm not the biggest fan of the Bucks. I will say their EVP characters are a little more. I I like the EVP characters a little more now than I did when they were when they're the Young Bucks, but they need to get rid of the dumbass facial hair. Other than that, so the match was good. I don't know why Darby did that ladder spot through the glass. It
I like it. It
just didn't make sense at that point in the match because nobody was laying there. It was Matt standing in front of it, and then Darby
yeah,
comes and he almost missed
and
it.
that's
Shot it. So,
yeah. I mean, it's definitely hard to. I don't know if you ever jump off of anything high trying to hit something, but
yeah,
it's definitely hard to do. But yeah, to me, they should have sold it a little bit better. Like they moved way too early.
yeah,
Uh, you know, that's on them. I mean, the camera angle wasn't too bad to where it looked like he completely was like being a dumbass, but he's gotten a lot of he's he's gotten a lot of heat for that spot. And number one, I respect it. Like, how many guys go out there and do these jumps onto the fucking fall pads and stuff, and it's like
yeah,
you have a guy putting his body. It's not like it was for nothing.
yeah.
It was Sting's last match. It's high profile. Um, oh, did he get injured? Of course he did. Like we all saw him getting medical treatment on the side of the ring.
Like three guys
But
just standing there. What's going on?
yeah, but
Apparently, they had a
you know,
plan B in case Darby wasn't able to continue the match.
yeah, but you know, nobody bitches at Edge, Christian, the Dudley Boys, the fucking Hardys for their TLC spots.
I
Nobody bitches at Mick Foley for his, um, uh, you know, jumping off the Hell in a Cell. And it's one of those things where like he really did it, and it really hurt. I respect that way more than jumping onto a fall pad and making it look like it's something that it's not, or fake explosives, or some dumb shit. He jumped off a fucking ladder through real glass. I respect it.
To circle back to your point on like them not bitching at like Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, the Hardys, I think it's because we know more now of how it affects them in the long run than we did before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why a lot of fans are like, why do you keep doing this stuff? Like, you're not going to be able to, 10 years from now, God knows if you're still going to be able to walk. And I think it's just like the overall concern from like the fans, like, we don't want you to like die in the ring. We want you to still be here 10 years from now, type of thing, or be able to still wrestle 10 years from now, like if you still want to. Because like even look at Matt and Jeff. Yes, Jeff does more of the high risk stuff than Matt did, but you see like that toll that is taken on Matt, where he can barely move. Like he's not as agile as he used to be. The same with Jeff. Like he's not as quick as he used to be from all those years of doing the swanton off of everything.
Well, Matt took a bunch of really dumb spots.
Yeah.
See, there's a difference between it being calculated and thinking about what you're doing versus doing a dumb spot. And I think that's the reason why, Matt, if you go back and look through Matt's catalog, there's a lot of bad bumps that he takes just because he did, right? It's calculated risk.
Then Mick Foley off the cell, like, hey, I'll cut him slack for that one because he was concussed when that happened.
Yeah.
He doesn't even remember any of it. So.
Yeah. I mean, and that's his legacy. And, like, I'm not going to falter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he did it, I mean, don't get me wrong, he has done some pretty stupid spots in like matches that don't matter. To me, and this is like all honesty, and I don't know if to me, like watching that whole pay-per-view as like a whole, the bump that Orange Cassidy took in his match. The where he just gets dropped on to the turnbuckle. Did you see that one or no?
Oh yeah, yep.
Way more dangerous spot, or I was way more scared for that. But like, there's a way more superior bump in my mind than the swanton off the ladder.
Yeah, and I will say this, like, even though like I didn't think it really made sense of like the point in time that they did it in the match, but at least it was in a match that actually means something and not on a random ass Dynamite. So like, that part of it makes more sense.
Yeah.
A pay-per-view match is definitely where something like that would need to be placed, not, Dynamite.
Yeah. And it's like, or, it's not just any pay-per-view match. It's like Sting's last match. You know what I mean? Yeah. The only thing that was like a little goofy, and I can forgive it, because it's Sting's last match, and I get you're trying to get everybody involved. But, at this point, Sting is like getting thrown off the stage. He went through some glass. Terrible bumps. And then the Bucks go to grab the belt, and fucking Ricky Steamboat's the guest timekeeper has had enough. Like, damn it, you can't hit him with the belt.
It's too much.
Too much now. Then he gets hit, his ass kicked and takes the bump. And then poor fucking Ric Flair doing his best Eddie Kingston impression.
Oh man! Like somebody
try to protect his friend. That was like the first thing that popped in my head as soon as he did it. I was like, oh god, please don't let the ring explode.
I honestly, at this point, like, Flair just needs to stop. Like he's just like one of those guys that just can't walk away and leave it alone.
It's one of those things that Sting's last match, and I'm pretty sure Sting asked for his involvement. Yeah. So like I said, I don't mind. Like, like they had to work them in somehow and try to make it.
I wonder if that was part of their plan B, because Darby was down there for quite a while while he was getting attended to. It felt like almost like 20 minutes. I'm sure it was a little less than that, but he was out there for a while, and I think they were trying to do stuff to like kind of see if he was going to be ready to go. So that might have been.
Yeah, I think they were taping him up, maybe super gluing some, because I mean he got fucking, like, he's definitely got some stitches.
I think he said like 12 stitches he ended up getting from all that, which is, I thought it was being like 30, but damn.
Yeah.
Sting's son.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So I know you're gonna talk about that too, or we talked about it a little bit during the Tony Storm one. His the one son in the Wolfpack Sting got some air on those stinger splashes to the point where like he almost jumped over them.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I didn't know these kids were that big. Like, it's like, dude, how have y'all been wrestling? But maybe they just don't want to, or maybe they're athletes or something. Like,
I think one of them. I think JR said one of them was playing football.
Okay.
For some university. I don't remember what he said.
Yeah. And I was kind of like wondering, like, when they had like the blonde Sting, and then they had the Wolfpack Sting, and I was kind of wondering, I'm like, what made them choose like the Wolfpack Sting to come out as? But then somebody was saying the reason why was because both of those outfits were actual outfits that Sting wore in Greensboro. Like, the one was like, I think it was like Great American Bash or something.
Yeah, the first red, white, and blue one was definitely a Great American Bash.
Yeah, and then the other one was like, I guess, like some other match he had in Green. I didn't know. I just like kind of. Don't get me wrong. I like the NWO Wolfpack Sting. Is just like, out of all his personas, like, I think he was.
I'm sure there's other gear that he wore in Greensboro. Maybe that's just like the two that his kids picked out were, that one.
Yeah. Or maybe that's why his kids thought were cool. Like, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like, he was a little slimmer as when he was doing the Wolfpack Sting than he was, Surfer Sting. Like, he wasn't as muscular. So I mean, that kind of makes sense too.
Yeah.
He was a little leaner. So yeah, Sting's retirement. Thank you, Sting, for such a great career. The Sunday leading up to the pay-per-view, posted quite a bit of highlights from Sting's career on her Facebook page, so you guys can go back and check that out at any time. Yeah. There's also a really great video that shows like the different looks of Sting throughout their career. So that was actually pretty cool. I found that, posted that on there as well. A lot of cool stuff there. Well, it's great. Revolution overall, better than what I was expecting. And that's usually the general consensus with AEW pay-per-views.
Yeah, I mean they have the match. Dynamite wasn't too bad.
Dynamite wasn't bad.
Yeah, if they go like in some areas with certain stuff, like the Christian Cage and Edge, like, at least they're building a storyline. Seems like they're trying to do like a little bit of a storyline with the world title picture. So we'll see. Definitely looking better.
Speaking of Dynamite, so what do you think of the new stage?
I like it.
New stage, new logo. I like the tunnels. I like that they brought back the tunnels. That was one of my favorite things of their original set design. Same thing with Impact when they used that, when TNA, when they had the tunnels. Like, I love the tunnels. They just look good.
Yeah. I like the color schematic too.
It's kind of got a little hint of that NXT with like the different colors and stuff. But
you talking about the 2.0?
yeah, looks pretty good though. I like it. Even though it's like the fourth stage they've had in the last 2 years. So, but yeah, it was pretty good. Some of the bigger stuff from Dynamite this week. We talked about the fuck did we talk about? Tag title tournament. We talked about, kind of hinted a little bit at Danielson and Ospreay too.
Is anybody been announced for the tag tournament?
Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta and the Bucks.
Yeah, I don't want to see neither one of them win.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if it ends up being the Bucks, as much as I don't think they need to win. This is a chance. This tag tournament to me is a chance to do something different with the tag team titles, get a different team into that title picture.
I think they're gonna go with Moxley and Canola. Would be my
Canola. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, honestly,
I don't see why not. If you're gonna have them beat FTR that way, like in the ring, you gotta do something with them. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, definitely. It just sucks because they haven't been building teams like the Butcher and the Blade. So
yeah,
I don't think tag teams and stuff that.
I don't think they are.
So, yeah. Which is disappointing. Yeah. I like the Butcher and the Blade. I'm a fan of the Butcher and the Blade. It's like they make them seem like such badasses in all these battle royals, and they never win anything. And it's just, are they really that much of a badass? So, the tag team main event, which spawned from Swerve challenging Joe, but instead we're getting Joe versus Wardlow for big business next week. Joe did drop Swerve at the end of that tag match, so that kind of continuing the two of them. I guess you need to have Swerve as a face to take on heel Samoa Joe. So and then like the biggest thing, Okada joining AEW and aligning himself with the Bucks. So Okada turns heel and is now.
And I guess they kicked out Omega.
Yeah, they kicked out Omega and they kicked out Hangman.
Well, they didn't kick out Hangman; they just retired or suspended Hangman.
Oh yeah. So they kicked out Omega. I'm a little disappointed that Okada ended up in AEW. Just for the sheer fact is, like, if you've watched Okada's matches, and I've seen a good few of them, he's gonna end up wrestling the same people that he's already wrestled numerous times in Japan. So I mean, which is good for the people that have not seen Okada wrestle Kenny Omega 60 times. They'll get to see it again. It'll be kind of like or see it for the first time for them. So it'll be a fresh thing for them. Or, Okada and Jay White. So, but for the rest, like the hardcore fans that have, watched this stuff, it's like, why you're giving us the same stuff? We're going to end up getting the same stuff again. And I think that's the direction that they're going to go with it. Unfortunately. That's just my opinion. Or at least in WWE, we would have gotten some fresher matchups. People that he hasn't wrestled before. And,
yeah.
Like I was clamoring for Okada versus Rollins. Like that would have been awesome. Like Okada versus Finn. Jeez. Which I know they've wrestled before, but it's been a long time since they've wrestled.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not upset that he joined the Elite or anything.
Well, I'm not upset about it. I'm just I was a little disappointed.
Yeah. I'm hoping he'd be more of like a free agent anyway. It's kind of like bounce around.
Yeah.
The whole thing of like kicking Kenny Omega out, like you could have saved that to like when he's actually there in person.
Yep.
Or beat him down or something. You know what I mean? Like I said, just like coming out like, "Hey, we're kicking out Kenny Omega." It's like, so I'm assuming when Kenny gets back, that's probably gonna be the first match he has.
I'm sure.
uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
No.
But you could have, what I'm saying? That's something you could have built. Like, wait till Kenny gets back, have him have a couple matches, or have him verse him, and then have like the Bucks come out and beat down Kenny Omega. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you could have handled it a lot better. But like, I don't have a problem with him being all elite. As long as he ain't involved in like a bunch of tag matches with the Bucks, like I would rather see him, wrestle people.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So I mean, we're probably gonna get him versus Daniel Bryan. Probably get him versus Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
I might even get him versus Swerve.
I
That might
actually
be
would not mind
yeah.
seeing that. That'd be awesome. So,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of fresh talent that he hasn't wrestled in AEW. It just seems like there's more talent that he has wrestled in AEW than there isn't. So.
Yeah.
But still, it's a big win. It's a win for AEW. Like, and hopefully it helps them. So
yeah.
Impact this week. I don't really have a whole lot. Sacrifice is actually tonight.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I forgot it was tonight. I thought it was next weekend. But
why are they always doing it on Fridays? Like, come on, man.
Because it's their because they do their tapings on Saturday. So they have the Sacrifice show tonight, and then they'll do like their next round of tapings tomorrow. Let me see. Let me just run through the match card real quick. You got TNA Digital Media Championship, Crazy Steve taking on Joe Hendry, which should be pretty good. Oh shit. The pay-per-view is almost over. So
is it? You just want to read out the results?
Yeah, I can read out to what we got so far. Crazy Steve defeated Joe Hendry to retain the Digital Media Championship. Speedball Mountain defeated the Rascals. Nick Nemeth defeated Steve Macklin. The System, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers defeated ABC to become the new tag team champions. Congrats to Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm going to have to watch this pay-per-view. I was planning on watching it anyway, but this is pretty cool. Yeah. PCO defeated Big Con. Spitfire, the team of Danny Luna and Jody Threat, defeated MK Ultra to become the new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. So congrats to Danny Luna and Jody Threat. Hammerstone defeated Josh Alexander in their second matchup. Which,
really?
Marks Hammerstone's official debut as a TNA superstar. Mustafa Ali and the Grizzled Young Vets defeated Time Machine, which was Chris Sabin, Kushida, and Alex Shelley. Jordan Grace retained against Tasha Steeles and Zaya Brookside. The championship match right now, Moose and Eric Young. There's no results up for this one yet. I'm assuming that Moose is going to retain. No. Doesn't make any sense for him to win that title, just to drop it already. So hopefully Moose does retain on that one. We'll follow up with that next week. So there we go. Sacrifice. Yeah. Good stuff there. I think that's pretty much it. I don't have anything for other promotions this week.
No.
Take out of that.
When does NWA start on CW?
They already have. Yep.
I need to see if I can catch that somewhere. CW last.
It's not on their app. Yeah, it's just on the app. It's not on the actual CW network.
Do you have to pay for it?
Nope, completely free.
Okay, I might look into it to see if it's any better now. That sounds like an actual station.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that one. I haven't really taken time to watch
it. This is one of my my biggest heartbreaks. Is like it was doing so well.
Yeah, prior to COVID, and then it just completely died.
The thing is like remember like we thought TNA was going out of business or like
Yeah.
TNA was going out of business, and then it's like how quickly things change in the wrestling business.
Yep. Oh, awesome. All right, let's hop over to No Holds Barred. All right, those of us just joining us, you haven't joined us before. No Holds Barred is pretty much a segment of the show where we talk about whatever we want. It could be wrestling, could be something else, it could be sports talk. Who knows? We just go with the flow here. I'll give you my thoughts on 2K24 here in a little bit, but let's talk up Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Yeah, man. What do you think?
Does Jake Paul have a death wish? Like, honestly, because I've seen Mike Tyson recently, like hitting the speed bag, and
Yeah.
Tyson still got it. Like,
yeah.
Tyson's old as fuck. I don't want to fuck with Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I heard a rumor. I hope it's not true. I think like it was like on a TikTok, and it was like I think somebody was just trolling, but it could be possible that that's what they agreed to, but I don't know. But somebody was saying that that Logan that Jake Paul would be wearing a boxing helmet like they use in the Olympics, but Mike Tyson wouldn't be. So like basically like Jake Paul like might not get knocked out because he'll have a boxing helmet on.
For his sake, I hope he does. Like, because Tyson can still throw a punch.
Yeah, that's the thing. Me and Garrett were discussing when we found out about it was like the thing is like a lot of people have been saying is that Jake Paul and Logan Paul have been paying these guys off like to win or go to draws and stuff. I don't see Mike Tyson being one of those guys.
Oh, absolutely not. Like Tyson doesn't need the money. Like,
yeah,
Mike Tyson, like his endorsement deals and everything else that he's got going on the side, I'm sure he still brings in quite a decent income.
Yeah,
like he's not going to take a dive. I'd be very surprised if Jake Paul actually wins against Mike Tyson. So,
and then
if that's the case, then boxing is definitely fixed.
I mean, the only thing that you have is Tyson's old. He's like in his 60s now, I think probably.
Yeah.
Or if not, he's like at least in his 50s. He's old. So he's a little slower. He's not that slow. Like he wrestled. He fucking boxed in 2020 or 2021.
He is 57.
57. And he looked good. You know what I mean? Like he looked good. Like I wouldn't want to box him.
That's what I'm saying. Even if he is a little slower,
yeah,
like he's still got some muscle behind that punch. So and all it takes is one.
Yeah, and I don't think he's gonna knock him out first round.
I probably won't go first round, like because
if Paul lasts. If he lasts the round 3, like I think he gets knocked out round 3 for sure. If he ain't wearing a helmet. If he ain't wearing a helmet, yeah, he's gonna get knocked out by round 3. I think. Because Tyson, I wouldn't fuck with Tyson.
Like I said, I'd be very surprised if Jake Paul wins this match. And like I said, if he does, boxing is 100% rigged. It's like I always knew it was. At least, coming up like the 90s. Like probably before that, probably not as much, but yeah. So I hope Jake, I hope you got a will. I hope it's notarized. I hope you're good. You got all your affairs in order, buddy, because you might not make it out alive on this one.
I mean, he'll probably make a shit ton of money because
Oh,
I'm
I'm
pretty sure
sure.
they're probably splitting the bag.
Yeah.
And you got Mike Tyson, so you don't have to really promote it that much. But yeah, man, like
There,
uh,
there-
I
there's no
should have waited
promotion
another
at all. I'm
10
sure
years.
as soon as tickets go on sale for this shit is sold out. Like
Yeah,
it might be like a WrestleMania sellout. It's Mike Tyson. Like when are
yeah,
you gonna get to see Mike Tyson in a legit boxing match again at his age?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's like insane. Oh, I forgot to bring this up when we are talking about AEW. Yeah, Revolution had a pretty good crowd, and so did
Yeah,
Dynamite this week. They looked pretty full. So I think
yeah,
Revolution was damn near a sellout. So,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it's like one of those things where I think like we bitch about AEW a lot, um, and it's one of those things like I don't want to see them do bad. You know what I mean?
no,
Like,
absolutely not. It's another wrestling. It's more wrestling for us to watch as wrestling fans,
yeah,
and that's what we should want is more wrestling. I
yeah,
mean, and sometimes it's a lot if you're trying to watch everything. But if you're just looking for something else to watch besides WWE or Impact, like you don't want to pay for New Japan subscription service or whatever, AEW's there. So I mean, that's just how it is. Yeah, awesome. 2K24, man. I don't know if you've seen any videos or anything with this yet, but it's a big, like 2K23 was great. It was an awesome game. They took stuff from last year and improved on it quite a bit. Starting off with the GM mode, they added some stuff in there that I like, some stuff that I don't like.
hmm
They added trades, so you can now trade between the different brands in the GM mode. Thought that's pretty cool. Everyone keeps trying to take my good people and give me shitty people, so I keep telling them no. They do have talent scouts now, and you get points to use to search for talent as like your talent scouts, but then you have to pay with the money that you're earning off your shows to scout the talent. So I have to pay the
Oh, okay.
scout to search for the talent, and then I have to pay the talent. Whereas last
Yeah,
year they gave me like a big pool of like free agents that I could just go through and pick who I wanted. So,
yeah.
but the talent scout thing is probably like my only gripe with this one. Other than that, I like the trading aspect of it is a pretty cool feature. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as it was last year. They did add Eric Bischoff as a GM, which wasn't in. I don't believe he was in last year's game. Teddy Long is also in there as a GM. So a lot of cool stuff. The
Cool.
WrestleMania showcase mode is pretty cool. We start off at WrestleMania 3 with Savage and Steamboat, and then you kind of work your way up through the Manias. Howard Finkel apparently must not be under a Legends deal anymore, or at least his estate. He's been blurred out and replaced voice-wise by a different announcer. I think it's Mike Rome, the SmackDown announcer that does the announcements for the showcase mode, which kind of sucks because it kind of takes away from like the overall old school feel for WrestleMania, those WrestleMania videos and stuff. Overall, pretty good, pretty solid
Is
game.
that the WrestleMania showcase? Is that the one where everybody's versing the Undertaker? I've seen them TikTok.
I know a lot of people are playing some of the older 2K games on TikTok recently. A lot of the streamers, and they're doing like the Undertaker challenge from a few years ago.
Oh, okay. Is that where
So,
that's from?
yeah, I think it was like 2K15. I think
Okay.
Punk was on the cover of that one, which is funny because it took me a while to beat that, but I finally was able to do it. and these people are playing it and bitching because they can't do it on the first try. Like it took me at
Yeah.
least like 15 tries to finally win. So, but, yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty good game. I like it. I'd probably say a 9 out of 10 overall. So
The
a 9 because of the stuff that kind of takes away from the showcase with Howard Finkel and a few other things. So.
Can you pick up the casket and hit somebody with it in the casket match?
I haven't done. No, you cannot. Unfortunately, I was gonna say I haven't done a casket match yet, but I did play one the other night. So.
That's like one of the things that was like always funny.
You can throw the weapons again. They finally put that back in there.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so you can pick up a chair and throw it. So while I was playing with my kids tonight, I was throwing chairs at them.
Okay.
So
who's your
hit Xavier with a ladder?
Who's your favorite character so far?
The only one I've really played has been myself, like because I've been doing the showcase, not the showcase, but the story mode type thing. So you create your character in that one. But outside of that, like I've used a couple other characters in there. I don't know, really. Like I was using the undashing Cody tonight with the plastic face protector and everything. So that's pretty good. I played as the elite versions, like the action figure versions of Cody and Cena, which are pretty fun. The kids love it. But I think Bray Wyatt. I've played as Bray a few times, so that probably might be one of my better ones that I've used.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a good game. I definitely recommend it. It's available now. I've been playing since Tuesday because I got the WrestleMania edition. So.
Oh, okay.
I did create the Wrestling Federation. So, got title belts. Made all those. So thinking about maybe streaming.
Your manager, the Tennessee Jesus.
They have Miss Elizabeth in there this year, but they don't have like an actual graphic of her, and the character model doesn't like it's labeled as Miss Elizabeth, but it's like kind of it doesn't look like 100% like Miss Elizabeth. So, so I don't know if they couldn't fully get the rights for her, or something. But I thought she was under a Legends contract because she's had some figures before and she's been in other stuff. So,
yeah.
That's cool. I like it. It's been a pretty solid game so far. All right. My take on that. You got anything else?
No. I mean, you don't watch basketball, so I can't really talk that.
Yeah.
Draft coming up in April. They decided to combine. NFL free agency is getting ready to start next week. Yeah. Trying to think. I saw the Bob Marley. I think I talked about this last week. Saw Bob Marley.
Yeah.
The other week. It was good. It wasn't bad. It just a little weird the way that, like where they chose to pick up and leave off, but for the most part it was good. So now I've had Bob Marley stuck in my head the last couple of weeks.
Man. The other stuff going around too, movie wise. Have you seen the popcorn bucket they put out for Dune 2?
I seen it. That's the one with the like you reach in and it looks like it's gonna like rip your arm off or whatever.
Yeah, there have been quite a few jokes with this thing as far as its overall looks.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let me see if I can pop that up here real quick. The sandworm popcorn bucket. Loading.
Yeah, that's
So I've
it.
seen a few TikToks. Yeah, people have gone into like the movie theater and they're like, yeah, I want the Dune 2 popcorn bucket with extra butter, no popcorn, and extra napkins. like,
Yeah.
oh
I
my
don't know if
god.
I'd want to stick my dick in that.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Have
This
they
is
come out with
freaking
one
ridiculous.
for the Ghostbusters maybe yet?
They have a shitload of them. Like every theater has like 1 to 2 different popcorn buckets for this damn movie. Cinemark has a really cool Slimer one that's got like a Cinemark bucket. So
Mm-hmm.
you put the popcorn in it that goes inside the Slimer, and then like they have the popcorn bucket that it comes out in. AMC's got one similar to that, but it doesn't have a bucket. It looks like shit. Um, Cinemark has an Ecto 1, which I have that one from the last movie that AMC did. And AMC and Regal are both putting out ghost traps for popcorn buckets, but the Regal one is supposed to make noise. Supposed to have sound and stuff to it. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to decide which one I want to get. I think I'm gonna try to get the Cinemark Slimer one.
Yeah, I went to the Cinemark up the street from my house. That's the first time I've been to movies like in a long time, like probably pre-pandemic. Uh,
Yeah,
and it's kind of changed a lot. Like the concessions, like they had like chicken wings and stuff, like burgers and stuff now.
oh
So
wow. A lot of theaters
yeah,
are doing that now where they're adding like more food and stuff to their menus besides
yeah. And
like
they have
the
less seats now. They added like more like recliner type seats.
yeah.
Uh, and it's like less crowded in there.
My big
But
thing,
yeah,
the biggest thing that annoys me now about going to the movies is like you don't get to sit like where you want to anymore. If there's like
yeah,
the
you
theater
have to
act, like you got to sit in the seats
you
that
bought
you like, ugh. And then they charge
yeah
more for certain seats, which is ridiculous.
yeah. But yeah I I don't know. I need to get back out to the. They have like a drive-in out in Wake Forest.
I have a drive-in in Wake Forest. I know they had one in Henderson.
I think
Was
it's
it
in
Henderson?
Wake Forest.
The Raleigh Road drive-in.
Oh, maybe it's Henderson. I thought it was Wake Forest. Is that the
Raleigh
one with
Road
like the
Outdoor Theater.
Raleigh Outdoor Theater or
Yeah,
whatever?
Raleigh Road Outdoor Theater. Yeah, that's one in Henderson.
Uh, oh, it's in Henderson. I thought that was Wake Forest.
There used to, when I first moved down here, I guess they just closed the one in Durham.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
like a year before I moved down here. Because it used to be
Yeah.
out on I think it's out on Glen School Road where that Walmart's at. I think that used to be where
Okay.
the drive-in used to be. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I miss about being back home in upstate New York is we had a drive-in.
Yeah. We had a couple. There were like well, there used to be one in Nashville when I was little, but well, I mean not Nashville, but like closer to Nashville than the ones that we directed. But they have one in like Watertown, and they had like two screens, like two different movies you could go
Yeah,
to.
they would.
And
Yeah, we would do that. We'd watch because they would like play one movie that we want to watch on one side, and then like the second movie wasn't something we wanted to watch, but the other side had another movie that we wanted to watch, so we just turn around and
yeah,
just tune the radio station to whatever that frequency was. But, I do miss it. I was on the list because we used to go like all the damn time, and I had friends that worked
yeah,
at the theater. Like my best friend's neighbor, his parents ended up buying, or best friend's neighbor ended up buying the theater, the drive-in theater. So like we were
yeah.
like on the list like the entire time that they owned it. So I didn't really have to never
Mhm.
paid to get in. And then like
Yeah.
I get like giant ass bags of popcorn. Like when they like cycle out the popcorn. You get like a fucking like
Mhm.
garbage bag full of popcorn.
Yeah. And yeah, then we had like another one in Kentucky. So there's like but yeah, I used to love going to the drive-in. That's where I saw Titanic at the drive-in.
Nice. I saw
Uh, I
first
saw
movie I saw.
I saw Twister at the drive-in, which is kind of weird, like because that drive-in thing.
You know they're making a sequel to Twister.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was a sequel or a remake, but I
I don't
thought
know.
it's like
It's supposed to be. I guess it's a sequel because they're doing
okay.
like the same shit that they did in the first one.
Hmm.
But I don't.
That's why I thought it might have been a remake because
I'm
I
not,
saw like
because they're calling it Twisters.
yeah.
So like I don't know if it's weird. So
Yeah. But I haven't saw like
to the
Bill
96
Paxton.
film.
It's a what?
It's an update to the first one.
So it's a remake? What does the update mean?
I don't know. I guess it's
yeah. But
sequel or something.
That first, that's why I hate like they redo like movies and stuff because you never can really capture some of the scenes. But the scene is like pretty iconic where it's showing that iconic like what did you say? It's showing the Shining, and then it shows the Twister coming through, and that was pretty cool. I saw Face Off. I seen Halloween H2O. I've seen a lot of good.
First movie I ever saw at the drive-in was No Holds Barred.
Oh, really?
Yep.
No Holds Barred.
No Holds Barred.
I saw that on VHS at my grandparents' house.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Twister. They had the Twister experience at Universal Studios when I went down there when I was like 13 or something. Waited 2.5 hours in line to see a little crappy looking tornado and get sprayed in the back of the neck with water. It was so bad. It sucked. Oh man, awesome. All right, let's get into something new for this week. Probably go a little farther than this week, but it is our best and worst wrestlers of the week. I'll kick it off here. I'd probably say my pick for the best wrestler of the week. I'm gonna have to go with Sting on this one. Just that last match was just fantastic. And just overall, his run in AEW, I was kind of skeptical about it at first, but he's had some pretty solid matches in AEW and kind of reinvigorated his career there for the last couple of years. So that's definitely my best wrestler of the week. Worst wrestler of the week is it's not that tough, but I'm gonna go with Jericho. He looked like shit in that All-Star Scramble. Just needs to give it up.
He did. He saved Hook, I think, on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I can't with Jericho anymore. I like Jericho. He's one of the greatest, but he's one of those guys that is going to end up like Flair and not going to be able to walk away, and it's just going to tarnish everything that he's done prior.
Yeah. I'm supposed to start with the best or the worst? Best?
Whichever one.
Okay. Best, I thought you may have chose mine, but, you went with Sting. I went with Will Ospreay. He had, if it wasn't Sting's last match, probably would have been the match of the night. on that pay-per-view, and then followed it up with one of the best like Dynamite matches we've seen in a while. Picking the worst was actually a little hard for me. I had like a couple people in mind. I started to go with Wardlow because I was like, he won that 7-man scramble, which was kind of like the worst, and I'm like, he won the number one contendership, but you think that they're setting up Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe by like by the way they were doing it. But after I thought about it, I'm like, maybe they dropped the title to Warlow on fucking next week. And if they did that, that would be awesome, right? That actually like prove me wrong, and he actually would be. So I'm like, maybe he's gonna win. So I did go with somebody in that match. I went with Brian Cage.
Okay.
And the reason why I went with him is because he was in that match, he lost it, but then also on Dynamite he had the match with Hook where he got choked out. It's like you're too big to be getting talked about by Hook.
That goes back to what I was saying about fucking Hook in that match. Like, scramble. Like, Hook should not be throwing around and choking out these big ass dudes. Like,
yeah.
That's why Gunther and Dom was like perfect, because like Dom got some stuff in, but he still got dominated by the bigger dude. Like,
yeah,
that's how it should have been. Ugh.
Yeah. So that's who I went with for best and worst of the week.
Cool.
Any disagreements or
no?
Anything like that? All right.
No, I agree.
I didn't know if we were supposed to argue it out or nothing like first take or something.
Nah. We're just like opinion on like who had a better week, who had the worst week. So.
Yeah. But yes, I could definitely see Sting Sting up there as best since it was his last match, and it was a pretty good match. It wasn't Flair's last match, isn't it?
Oh man, I don't know about that one. It's probably better than Flair's last match. Oh, yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I guess that's going to do it for us. So make sure you guys check us out on our social media. WrestleGeddon Pod with 1D on Twitter, 2Ds on Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestleGeddon Pod. That's with 1D as well. You can find the links and the stuff in the episode descriptions, in the link tree. Check out our YouTube, which you can catch us live every Friday night there, and of course on our Facebook. YouTube is youtube.com/forthecollection. Make sure you rate, review, share, subscribe. Let us know any questions, comments, anything like that. You want to get into the conversation, join us live and hit us up in the chat. We'll see your comments, all that fun stuff. We'll discuss them. Maybe we'll show them on the broadcast too. All that awesome stuff there. Check out our Redbubble store, which is another great way to support the podcast. That's redbubble.com/people/WrestleGeddonPod. Pick up some shirts, stickers. They got 40% off household items, so you can get yourself a WrestleGeddon podcast shower curtain. Yep. Or a comforter. Lots of cool stuff up there. And shout out a couple of our friends here in podcasting, the Fig Cave podcast, where you can check out all your wrestling figure and action figure news from them for certain things. And a call up, which is live every Thursday night with DJ and Kenny, as they talk about their views on some wrestling, their opinions on what down in the week. And you also catch Kenny live Monday nights as they live stream, live react to Monday Night Raw. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of good wrestling podcasts out there. A lot of good podcasts, not about wrestling too. It's whatever you're into.
Yeah.
Just make sure you listen to us.
Yep. If you don't like us, fuck you. How about that?
True that. All right, awesome. Well, like I said, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for checking us out. This is episode 226 of your Wrestlegeddon podcast. On behalf of myself, Chris the Heat Matthews, and the Tennessee Jesus, Carl Carlson. We'll chat with y'all next week. Later, Marks. Peace. What thing? Trying to be like shifty here. There we go.
Fucking lies. I don't think so.